I think the best advice to people is be yourself. Be true to your heart. Connect more with your heart, and just think about what you want other people to be like to you, to be like to them. Love yourself because you're unique. Everything about you is perfect, and everybody can have that love for themselves. You can't really change the world until you change yourself. So start with yourself. Love yourself. God always forgives you. Doesn't matter whether you believe in the God with a man with a great beard, or you believe in the God as the entity that everything exists in. You will never be challenged by being what people think of as bad. Just be heart-based. Live from your heart is the best advice.
Welcome to a Broaderlands podcast. The opinions expressed on Broaderlands podcast are those of the guest speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views of the host or Broaderlands podcast. Marcus, welcome to Broaderlands podcast. What an honor to have you on. I really mean that.
Oh, listen, it's such an honor for me to be. I've watched quite a few of your broadcasts now, and I feel it's a real honor to be in the same room with you, and to be able to talk to you. And I'm greatly honored. So thank you for inviting me.
And vice versa, my friend. I really appreciate you connecting with me, and I'm just truly grateful. You know, before we get started, I thought maybe we can touch on the Bain Clan Center of Light. Maybe you can help expand on that. What's that all about?
It's my wife and I, and we have two associates who help us. We started this in 2000 and probably 13, 14, 15, somewhere around about there. And our motto is to help spread unconditional love into the world. And everything we do is about spreading the word, spreading the news, spreading what's happening. My wife is, she doesn't like me boasting about her ability, but she's amazing with crystals. And, you know, a lot of people are running crystal things now. Well, she used to do that like 8 to 10 years ago. And nowadays she's mainly working with the higher vibration of the crystals. And she's also, like myself, a channel. So we've got another part of the Bain clan is our Patreon side, which, you know, like everyone, we need to bring funds in. So we have tiers. We don't charge a lot for the tiers, so that people can come on board, follow our work and what we're doing. And my sort of thing is about helping those waking up, really, those just waking up. And we put a myriad of stuff on for free because, you know, it's just the way it is. We have to put stuff out there that everyone has access to. And our goal is just to spread the word, really. And we've been doing this a long time. And, you know, we're not like a lot of people doing it because we want to be famous or rich. Well, I wouldn't mind being rich, but not if it messes up our ethos about why we're doing it. So we're very blessed, both of us. Very, very blessed.
Yeah, thank you. What does a spiritual awakening mean to you?
It's about realizing that there's more to you than just this physical body, and there's more reason for you to be alive than just eating, sleeping, working, and understanding that behind, you know, the lifetime that you're living, that you are not just a physical person, but are a spiritual being. And, you know, it's getting more and more common now that people are waking up to this. And, you know, I've been doing this a long time. So for me, I've been watching all the changes over the last 50 odd years. And it's quite amazing, you know, what's been happening. I remember in 1970 saying to my friends, because we were macrobiotic, one day in the big shops, there weren't many supermarkets then. The big shops will be selling rice, and my friend, don't be silly. No one will be selling brown rice except the health shops. Said, you mark my words. And, it was that sort of world where if you talk to someone about spirituality, they just thought you were talking about psychics and psychic events like clairvoyance and card readers and stuff like that. There wasn't the scope that there is now. There was no internet for one thing, but there just wasn't scope. Everything was hidden, and yeah. So I've answered that. Sorry. I just go on and on and on. You probably noticed. You can just cut me short. You just say, all right, that's enough.
No, on your website, it says you've been on the spiritual path for over 50 years. Maybe you can walk us up into your upbringing and how did this all come about? Did you come into this world already questioning, feeling awakened, different, alienated, or was it a process?
Well, I always felt different as a child. And I thought it was something to do with, just where I was living and who I was. But I didn't really know why. I just knew all the people I played with as a boy, going out to the park, playing football. I just was aware that I was different and I knew more, even though I didn't talk about knowing anything. I just felt there was something special about me. And I suppose, a lot of people think that before they get locked up. But, I just thought there was something really going on there. And as I grew up, I dabbled a bit with Ouija boards in my late teens, and I got put off that by an incident I had with a friend. And I never touched that again. But I'd always believed in psychics and witches and angels. I'd always believed in angels my whole life. Always felt an affinity. And then when I was 19, I got into macrobiotics and became a hippie. Macrobiotics, for those that aren't aware, is about the balance of yin and yang in your life, especially with your food, a balanced food diet. And it's all health food. It's organic if you can, but good food, live food. I say organic. I used to go into a health shop and the organic food was dead because it had been on the shelf for 8 months or looked like it had been on there for months. You're better off with live food, even if it's not organic, you can feel it. Dead food's no good, really, but I'm just going off of it. But yeah, so at 19, I realised all this. I left home, went to live with my friends who were musicians. I was a roadie for them for a while. I then moved to London because I was brought up in Liverpool. And when I moved to London, I ended up working in a vegetarian restaurant that we turned into a macrobiotic restaurant, really. And that just changed my life. And I remember one incident specifically that changed me is that I used to be sort of walking up and down the high street there, and I wasn't so much walking because my feet weren't really touching the ground. It felt like I was walking above the ground, just floating along. I was so out of it with the food, this sort of regimen, when it's done fanatically and strictly, it really just spaced you out, And so I always felt really spaced out. And as I always did with a friend of mine, when we walked past somebody, I walked past this young man of about 20, same age as me, and he had a suit on. He was obviously going to work. And I looked at him and I said to my friend, oh, Sil, suddenly look at his face. He's got lung problems. He's got liver problems. Look at his kidneys. And this is what we did. We walked past people and diagnosed what was wrong with them. And as if to say, poor you, poor you. And as I did it and turned around to my friend and said that, I went, wow, what am I doing? What am I doing? I'm judging this person. Who the heck am I to make these comments about this person's life? How can I judge him? And from that moment on, boo-boo. I decided I'm not going to help people by being a hippie outside of the system where these people just look at me as an outsider. If I want to help people to become more spiritual, which I did even then, I need to be inside the system helping. So a year later, I was in the normal world. I was still a hippie in my head, but, I had a job. I was working, sort of earning money in my own way. And I was in with what I would class ordinary people. Of course, there's no ordinary people, is there? There's no one is ordinary. And, they might be on a different spiritual trip. But that's how I started. And have I got time to talk more?
Sure.
So from then on, I joined the Merchant Navy. I went from Vancouver Island, which is a beautiful place. I nearly emigrated there, to Japan, which was my heart. My heart lived in Japan from the age of 10. I studied martial arts. I was writing calligraphy when I was 10, karate and stuff like this. And it wasn't well known in those days. And 1960s, it wasn't well known, all these martial art things. And I was just mad about anything Japanese because I think I've remembered the lives I've had. So I've remembered a few of now as a samurai and the people I've met in this lifetime who I'm still very friendly with. I've got a friend who's an Eastern Reiki master. He started Reiki in 1954 when he was 7. And he's still on his 7th level. They have 7 levels in Eastern Reiki. He is a true master, not someone who spent a weekend learning Reiki. No disrespect to all you Reiki masters. Not someone who spent a weekend learning Reiki and calling himself a master, I'm from martial art world, so I'm magic world. So a master is someone who spends a lifetime mastering something. Not sort of a few years or, 10 years or 15 years. It's
online course.
Yeah.
Not an online course?
No, not online course. But yeah, so anyway, I digress. But yeah, so that was my heaven going in the merch. And one day, I must tell you this also changed my life. One day I was in either Oregon or Vancouver Island. I mean, you got to remember it was the 70s. So you know what they say. If you remember the 70s, you weren't there. So it could have been Oregon. It could have been Vancouver. It was somewhere. And I walked in this bathroom and on the wall, there was a piece of paper with a man drawn. Someone had drawn a man and a pathway. And it'd written on there, do not follow where the path may lead. Make your own path and leave a trail. And that was it for me. I mean, from that moment on, my whole life changed again. And, I've been reading stuff like Herman Hesse and, one of the great books I've read is Herman Hesse and, Vera Stanley Alder, an English writer, an old lady who wrote some amazing books in the 50s, 60s, Initiation of the World, and some books that when humanity comes of age, all these books are really relevant today. But in those days, there were lots of people like me, hippies mainly, spiritual aware people who were looking at this stuff. And the only way you came across it was finding the books. If you were very, very lucky, you might find a teacher, but it wasn't often you could say you were going to find a teacher. It was rare, and they're the things that really changed my life, and I could talk for 50 minutes about my upbringing in the spiritual world, but do you want me to go on a bit longer? Or?
Yeah, that would be awesome. But before we do that, what does the word samurai mean?
Samurai.
Do you know?
It's a warrior who's in service, and it's usually in service to a lord. When they're no longer in service to a lord, they're no longer called a samurai. They're called, what's the word? I've been one of them as well. But it's when they're in service. So they dedicated their
Yeah,
lives
that's what
to
I thought.
the Lord.
It had something to do with service. Yeah, you're right.
I was very much in service. And it's a great way of living, but you have to kill yourself at some point. So you've got to
Mm.
die by the sword, otherwise it's no good. I mean, these were different days, Boo Boo, where
Yeah.
it was a different way of living. But after I left the Merchant Navy, I went back to London, and I came across Oscar Ichazo from Eureka School, who was amazing. And a lot of the Eureka students were my friends, so I spent a
Mm.
lot of time with them. I did a few of their little courses, but it wasn't my bag. No disrespect to it, because it's great work, the School of Eureka, but it just wasn't for me. And as I say, I was following my own path and leaving a trail. And everyone I came into contact with and wanted to speak about anything spiritual with me would have some of my knowledge that I'd learned. And for me, it was more important to stay pure. And I only carried on reading not textbooks, textbooks. I only started reading things like The Secret Doctrine and, Madame Blavatsky and stuff like this.
Mm.
And I got into theosophy in a big way. And that was a big part of my upbringing in the spiritual sense, because I'd mainly studied the Eastern religions to start with. And yeah, as I was 19, I discovered that I'd been here before, and I'd actually reached nirvana. This came to me in a flash. I was starting to tell you this earlier. It came to me in a flash. I had this flash of inspiration and knowledge that I'd been to nirvana. I
Mm.
didn't really understand what I was thinking. I knew I'd been to nirvana. I didn't have to come back, but I chose to come back. And I came back to help. And so I dedicated my lifetime to doing that in my own way. And
Bodhi.
I've been doing that ever since. So I'd also come across someone really interested in the 80s, was the Aetherius Society. Have you heard of them? George
Mm-mm.
King? Oh, wow.
No.
So in 1954, George King started connecting with this being called Aetherius from Venus. And he started collecting and channeling. He was an ordinary guy, a taxi driver. Him and his mother
Mm.
connected together. They channeled all these beings, and they went up in ships and everything. And you need to
Wow.
look at this on YouTube. There's a video of his from 1959 on the BBC being interviewed about him channeling alien beings in all these different worlds. I've still got all the documents I picked up from the 80s. It was all typewritten. There was no computers, well, there were, but you didn't see them. It was all typewritten stuff, and they
Maybe you
put it
can
all
post
out
that.
there. I can't really post their stuff now. They're still
Oh,
around.
no.
Not ethical
No,
for
I
me to
meant
post.
if there's a video, a YouTube video. If there's a YouTube
Oh,
video, maybe we'll
yes,
post it
of
on
course
this
it can,
episode.
yeah.
We'll
Oh,
post it
yeah.
on this episode so people can check it out that listen to
Oh,
this.
it's fabulous.
That'd be awesome.
I'll send you the link to it. And
Oh, no
he was an
problem.
amazing guy. Anyway, I got into that big way, really, and it changed my view on things. I
Mm.
still didn't think I'd ever be channeling or anything. And then, lo and behold, there was a big section in the middle I'm going to jump. But I'd actually came across a teacher of Kabbalah when I was 43. That was the perfect age for a man to learn Kabbalah in the Hebrew tradition and Hebrew Kabbalah.
Mm.
So I tried when I was 23, but I couldn't do it. Too much for me. And I tried again when I was 43, and I was perfect. All these books started appearing from nowhere. All the bookshelves popped out. These books came to me. Magic and mystical books, and Kabbalah. And then I found my teacher, who was a very reputable person of great knowledge. a magician, as well as a Kabbalist, great Kabbalist, had some amazing teachers of great repute, which I won't name drop. But he was just so magical. And we used to go and have meetings, and we'd look at these teachings. It was about looking at the inner teachings of everything. And we'd be up till 4 a.m. And he's a sort of guy, have a big fire outside. And do you know what ambergris is?
Mm-mm.
Ambergris. It's like a perfume. It was also
Oh,
a perfume.
yeah.
You'd grab a handful of it, throw it on the fire, and the
Yeah,
smell was just wow.
yeah.
It's more expensive than gold or platinum or anything, ambergris. It's, because it comes from Wales. And he just grabbed a handful of it, throw it on the fire, and, just for the effect and the smell. Oh, he was a true magical being. He was dedicated his life to the work. He really did. I'm so lucky to find him, but I know now it's not luck. I've been guided my whole life. I didn't realise it. When I nearly got my head knocked off when I was at sea, I thought I heard someone shout me. There was no one shouting, but I heard the voice, look out, and I ducked. And this big slab of wood just nearly knocked my head off. All my life, I've been guided. I thought it was, my grandma or someone looking after me. And at times it has been. But these guides have been with me my whole life. And it's funny, but the Arcturian said to me not so long ago, oh no, it wasn't the Arcturian, the Pleiadian said to me a little while ago, when you were a little boy and you used to say, don't close the door, Daddy, I'm scared. I don't want the boogeymen to get me, the monsters. That was us. We weren't monsters. They told me this when I was channeling them some time back. I hadn't realised. If only I'd realised, because no parents would be talking about stuff like this in those days. They weren't aware of it. It was all like, oh, they're just bad dreams or thinking about monsters. But yeah, so I'd always been guided. And it was only years later. And I better shut up for a minute so you can talk.
No, I could keep listening to you, but one thing that pops up is why is this conversation we're having sometimes so hard for people in the spiritual community when you bring up like other types of beings? We buy into the angel thing, which I believe in, but you can't. There's no other types of beings because I know you call yourself Arcturian ambassador, and I'd love for you to touch on that when you get a chance. Who are the Arcturians, and what is an Arcturian ambassador, and how'd you get that label?
So basically, I don't really talk about it a lot. I don't really put it in my bio a lot, and it's like I said to you once before. It's not something I want to really, I'm not one of these people that says I'm this and that and I'm everything. And I know some beautiful people who are incredible. They're ambassadors of all different races, and they're connected to all different beings, and they are. They're not just saying it. There's a lot of people who say it for the effect, and but I know quite a few people, at least one particular person, who is just unbelievably connected to everything. And we're very lucky to meet people like that. But I'll have to start a little bit sooner and tell you that from 2016, I have to start there, if that's any good.
Perfect.
So in 2016, I was ready to retire from work. I've got these mystical books I wanted to finish my life reading and studying. I waited till the end of my life till I could spend my time just studying these mystical books. And I was all ready for that. And 4 or 5 in the morning for months and months and months on end, I kept getting woken up. Wake up, wake up. What's happening? You've got to help people on their ascension journey. Your job now is to build a website. I'm paraphrasing. Call it Way It Is. and help people as they ascend in this lifetime. This is your role. Who are you? I'm Archangel Metatron. I didn't really know that at the beginning. I only found that out later. It was Archangel Metatron. At the beginning, I wasn't sure who it was, but I've since found out. And a friend of mine helped me with that. Lovely Anya. God bless her. She's still alive, so nothing. But she's amazing. She's helped me so much in that part of my journey. And I'd always believed in angels, and I knew Archangel Metatron was the number one honcho. You know, there wasn't anyone higher in the angelic world than Archangel Metatron. So I said to her, why is Archangel Metatron dealing with me? I thought I could start with a little baby angel. You know, why an angel of such mass? And she said, well, he's not the only one. They're all queuing up. They all want to talk to you. And it's like I'd waited my whole life for this moment. And the funny thing was, I've known I was meant to be doing something in this lifetime, in this sort of realm. And I thought I'd missed it. And in 2000, I had a beautiful friend, God bless him, Derek Akora, who was a psychic medium who'd been all over the States and everywhere, all over the world, and on telly. You know, he was amazing. And I knew him personally because I used to have readings with him before he was famous. And he's a beautiful man. And one day in 2000, after one of his shows, I went backstage and had a chat with him. And he said, how are you doing? I said, oh, I think I've missed the boat. I know I was supposed to do something, but I think I've not got there. You know, I've missed it. He said, no, you haven't. And I've still got it all written down, what he told me. He said, in 2012, that's when you're going to start. That's when everything's starting for you. In 2012, I met my wife. Well, my wife and I got married. The year later, my wife and I had our beautiful son. And that's when my life changed. And as you well know, and I think I'm right in saying this, that in 2012 was the start of everything, not the end. A lot of people said, oh, you know, everyone's saying it's the end of the world, 2012, that's when the clock, you know, the Montezuma's, what's it called? I've got one here. The Aztec calendar, you know, it's telling everyone that's the end. The Mayan calendar, The Mayan calendar predicts that's the end of the world. I knew it wasn't because, you know, I just knew. And it was when everything changed for me. And anyway, by 2016, this happened. And I'd heard about Ascension in 2015. I thought it was a load of rubbish. And when they started, if Archangel Metatron tells you, you're going to build a website, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to spend your time now helping all these people, you can't really turn around and say, no, I'm not. Can you? You can't. And so I just carried on doing it. I didn't realize what it meant when he said, call it the way it is. It didn't click at all. It clicks now because I use that phrase a lot. It's just the way it is. Isn't it? Can I just add the caveat? I know I'm talking a lot. Everything I'm talking to you or anyone about in anything I do is always my view. I'm never telling anyone, this is my view, and this should be your view, because great. No, I'm saying I believe it now at this time, this moment in time, this is my belief. Could change in a few seconds. But now I believe this. I'm not trying to tell anyone else they should, because we've all got our own pathway. And I'm quite happy for other people to have their path is from their heart, and they're helping the world, they're helping people, they're helping the planet, they're helping someone, they're helping themselves to love themselves. Whatever they're doing, I have no problem with anyone doing anything believing in angels. Not so happy about the dark stuff too much, but that's their journey. And so I will live and let live. And, you know, people will turn around and say, well, you're speaking a lot of rubbish. You know, a lot of people will think, oh, you should be in a hospital wing, you know. But the thing is, This is my life. You've got your incredible life. And you are such a beautiful soul. I know you're modest. You're such a lovely soul. And you give so much on these podcasts. You know, I leave a few comments on what I've seen because you just give so many people the opportunity to help other people who may resonate with what they're talking about. And that's all we can do is put ourselves out for people to resonate with or not. I'm always happy, you know, to pass people on to other people if it will mean their journey will be better. And that's what we should all be doing. It's all about, you know, I met this incredible person on Clubhouse when I was on Clubhouse for a couple of years, who can I drop her name in?
Yeah, please do.
Bridget Renee Holiday. She's the person I was actually talking about before. She's been connected to beings of light and love all her life. She's the most amazing. I've put her as an affiliate on my link tree because she's so generous with others. She's so generous. When Karen put a crystal grid book on the internet from the website, she shared that with all her followers. And this is the sort of person, she's not saying, you know, this is mine, I want all this. She wants to help spread everything everywhere. And she is the most incredible person in this realm. Not as incredible as my beautiful wife, because she's the best thing in the world. She is just amazing. But as far as finding someone who does that work, who, you know, she's amazing. I'm very blessed to call her my dear soul sister and friend. So I've never met her in the physical, only on the internet, you know, but we know each other so well, so many lifetimes.
Wow. That's awesome. You said so many lifetimes. Do you believe that this ain't the one life that we have that we're taught in religions, some religions?
No, definitely not. I mean, I've had hundreds and hundreds. I was thinking before, probably had hundreds of thousands of lives here. And when I realized I was a starseed, of course, I've had lives, you know, for those that don't know, starseeds are beings who live here in this physical life, but have also been beings in other lives. Other people might say simultaneously. I know Bridget talks about multidimensional, and I'm not 100% sure for me if I understand it fully, but I could be having a lifetime now as an Arcturian. I'm an Arcturian starseed in answer to your original question about, you know, being an Arcturian ambassador. They told me I was an Arcturian ambassador after Archangel Mestanto. He told me first, funnily enough, and then I connected to the Arcturians. And the weird thing is, I'd always felt connection to the Pleiadians because whenever I go outside, I look in the sky and I find the Pleiades every time I can find it. I know exactly where it's going to be. I've always felt connection, but they are linked. You know, a lot of these star beings are linked. But yeah, I've always believed in reincarnation my whole life. And it makes so much sense. And I've never done regression. It's not my bag. I don't believe in. I believe if this is my view. If you need regressing, it's up to you. Personally, for me, it's not my bag. I don't want to do that. But I have remembered several lifetimes, and I have remembered quite a few events in those lifetimes. And people always want to be Cleopatra or Caesar or someone famous. And it's funny, but I remember reading something about Edgar Casey years back, and he did this research into people's, you know, when he was doing all this channeling with them and regressing them. And they all wanted to be someone famous. And he told them, which I believe, it's not about the bigness of what you were. It's often about one little event in that life, like you were a midwife who was helping the whole village, and somebody came along and told the priest of the town that you were a witch. Things like that you might remember, which are the most important thing of that life, because since then, events in your future lives have changed things. Or, I had a Victorian life as a magician, a real magician, not a card player. And I was not nice to women. I took advantage of women. And, you've got to remember these people from like the Golden Dawn and the age of the Golden Dawn. There's a lot written about that famous, they call him the Black Magician, Mr. Crowley.
Mm.
And, if you read about his actual life, you realize that he did the wrong thing. He made a big mistake in what he did. And I don't want to go there. But the people of that ilk were Victorian men who would often take advantage of very wealthy Victorian, very rich women because they would look after them. They'd give them loads and loads of money so they could continue their work. They'd become their sponsors. So a lot of what went on was about that. I'm not saying that as a caveat to I wasn't naughty there, but I was. I wasn't very nice to women. And so that's come back at me in other lifetimes.
Mm.
And I've cleaned all that now, this life, through an event, which I'm not going to talk about now, but through an event that I've had, all that's been cleared. I'm very grateful for. Otherwise, I couldn't do what I'm doing now. I wouldn't be able to connect to angels and that's why we often think, oh, now I want to be doing this now. I've had people come to me saying, I should be doing this. I should be doing what you're doing. I want to be channeling. It's not about you wanting. It's about you being ready, being in the right phase of your existence this lifetime, to be ready to be in your flow, to let in what is there for you. Does that make sense?
Makes a lot of sense. I had a question that popped up when you were talking. What is the whole purpose of coming back different lifetimes or having different lifetimes? Is it to break patterns, to learn, to expand for our soul expansion? If we're made in the image of God, why do we have to do all this little game we're playing, this cosmic game? Or like, what's the whole purpose in your opinion?
In my opinion, everything I talk about is my opinion, obviously. I've always believed that the soul is being purified every lifetime to go back to the oneness. The soul is a part of the oneness. Each person's soul is a cell of God, if you like, a cell of the source. And I'll go long-winded on this because I want to put this across. I believe in the idea of Tzimtzum, which a famous rabbi in Kabbalah, the Ari, the lion, Isaac Luria, had this theory called Tzimtzum. And it's how I believe everything exists. And it's about the source, God, oneness, came from nothingness and created, all Kabbalists who think I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Apologies. I'm just giving a rough idea of what this is about. So from the nothingness was created a space in which everything could be manifested. Everything could become manifest. And in that space of nothingness was yin and yang created, so that everything in physicality and in all the worlds could be created in the nothingness. So when that nothingness created this space inside, everything was created in it. And from there, the Sephirot in Kabbalah came down. And so, there's lots of old stories associated with this. So some years, I did a video about this on YouTube, on the Bain Clan channel, just dropping the Bain Clan YouTube channel about this. And it's about the fact of Kabbalah teaching it. I had this realization that we are made of atoms. Atoms are 99.9. People say this scientifically. I don't know how we can prove it. 99.9% empty space in an atom. I believe that empty space in the atom we're all made from, that everything in physicality is made from, is full of what? Empty space. The empty space from which everything was created by the one source of all things. So we are intrinsically part of God because we are created. Every bit of matter is from source because it's full of empty space. So we got what the question was. I've zoomed off into my little world.
No, the question was, what's the purpose of coming in so many different lives,
So
whether it's all at once?
Purification is the purpose. So that we were pure in the Garden, if this story is to be believed. If we were those spiritual beings, you have to think back in the Bible. It talks about these beings who were here, and they weren't human. The beings that existed, pre the flood, where Enoch comes from, they all lived 1,000 years, 900 years, 800 years, 700 years. I don't believe they were humans. They were different beings. And we as souls have been coming back here so that we can become purer by being physical and learning different ways about being a physical being. We have been pure because we came from the oneness. And so we are pure at heart. But by coming to live in the physical world, like it says in the Bible in a way, we become impure because we lust and we have these, not sin, there's no such thing as sin, but we do things that have cause and effect, So I also believe that there's no more karma. And my guide told me this in 2017 when I wrote the website. There's no such thing as karma anymore because we've used that up to now to help this soul journey become purer. But we haven't got time now. The time's finished. And that's why this lifetime is the end of karma for us as a learning tool. The way we're going to do it now is by one of the things I do with the healing I transmit, the Metatron healing, is clear away the channel from your heart to your higher self being part of your soul. And that clearing away of the debris allows you to get closer to source because it's that debris. It's like if you've got a pipe with a water pipe and there's blockages of rubbish in there, got stuff. The flow of water is blocked and is not streaming through properly. It's like that for us as souls. Every time we used to come back here and have a lifetime, we did something that we haven't finished, we haven't learned from. And so we created baggage. And every lifetime, the baggage gets more and more unless we let go of it. Unless this life, you may or may not believe, this is something I've always believed. Before I came down here, I had a little chat with my guides. I said, hey, mate, what am I doing this life? Oh, you've got to learn about true love from your heart. So when you go down there into earth, when you're incarnated, this is your mission, and we're going to help you. We're here, and we'll guide you as best we can. And that's what they've done to all of us. Our guides have been helping us because we arranged it before we came down here. We arranged who our mum and dad was. Like you had a guest recently who saw her mum and said, wow, you're beautiful. Recent guest said that. And it's like we know we're down here, we've got a job to do. And that has been the way it's been until now. We don't have time to keep doing that. So we've been getting rid of a lot of debris. This life for a lot of spiritual seekers has been very difficult because of that. Because we've been churning away this stuff. You know, you can ask a lot of spiritual seekers around today, spiritual way showers, guides, and they'll tell you the same thing. It's like, it's been really difficult, man. It's been really challenging. All these things are happening. I don't know why. It's all, this is the way it is. You drop that in. This is the way it is. Because we have to let go. Because what happens is, I know this sounds like a joke, if we want to become enlightened, we have to let go of the stuff that's dragging us down. And then what happens is we start floating up. As you let go of more rubbish, you become lighter and you become enlightened. I know it sounds like a joke. It's not a joke. The more dross we get rid of, the more karma we drop in this life. And we've got to do it, Boo-Boo. Because if we don't, we're not going to move over to what's happening now, this ascension. It's only by letting go of all this dross that we're going to be able to shift into this new world, this new reality, in my view.
Yeah, thank you. And I love how you brought up way shower. What are way showers? I think, thinking Jesus is the only way has created so much chaos and separation and division throughout the ages, wars and murder and ignorance. But I love the term way showers. The first time I heard the term was with Eric Butterworth, who was a unity minister, and he brings up about being a way shower. He says, Jesus was a way shower and we all should be way showers. But what's your definition of a way shower?
I've always been a way shower. When I said to you earlier, when I was 19, I saw that man's face and he looked really ill, and I realized I'm not going to help him reach his spirituality by being on the outside looking in. I have to be on the inside where he is to help him. That is a way shower. A way shower does things by example and shows people by example how they should maybe change the way they do things, or how they could see things differently by being a good example, by not by being a preacher. Although I met some incredible preachers like Harold Timberlake, amazing man. And he, great preacher, but he preaches from here, from the heart. Way showers do that. They're always coming from the heart because their mission here, whether they're starseeds or just ascended beings or people who have been here so many times, they've only come back to help everybody. And that's what way showers do. They're showing the way. Nothing about religion, in my view. Although there are people who do this from their religious practice. For me, it's about being in that space of showing the way to people that could help them. Everything I do is it's all about helping people. And it's funny, but when I'm giving people healing, this Metatron healing I transmit, it's not just about the physical or mental or emotional healing. That does happen. Sometimes it happens massively. It's about the helping them to shift. And it really does actually. It really helps them move up, onwards and upwards. And I'm not very good at sort of telling people how fabulous I am. I mean, you can tell I'm good looking, suave, sophisticated and modest. You can see that. You think I've got such a great sense of humour. And, there's no point being here if you haven't got a good sense of humour, let's face it. And, that's why we're here. We're here to laugh about things and learn. And a couple of years ago, my guides told me something. A couple of years ago, my guides told me these two things. When I was on Clubhouse, they taught me some valuable things, my guides, angels and star beings. And they said, Everything that happens to us is to make us who we need to be. I think that lady I was talking about said something similar. And it's not what happens to us, it's how we handle it. And that is so true. They both go together. This came about because one of my channelings, said, you earth beings, you don't really understand life. And it was about this. We look at life as good and bad events. Oh, I was walking down the street, I fell over, I broke my leg. I won the pools, I won loads of money. Good. So you win loads of money, your wife divorces you because you're playing around with all these young women. You have a terrible addiction to drugs and alcohol because you got all this wealth. Good. It's all about looking at events as events, not good and bad events. Because 99 times out of 100, when you look back at the event, when I look back at the fact, I've got loads of experience. When you get older, the thing that you learn is, gosh, you've been through a lot. And it helps you learn about these things. So, young people sometimes pick it up as well. But I've learned from all experience, not from other people. Everything I talk about is from my own experience, Fred. And it's taught me that when my first wife, God bless her, passed over after being together for only a few years and waiting for her for 25 years, and then finding her, and I was heartbroken. But God bless her, if she hadn't passed over, and it was a terrible, bad event for me in my life at that time, I wouldn't be the happiest man alive now with my beautiful wife and my beautiful boy. We wouldn't be together now. And this is how we have to look at things. If we look at things as just events and then handle them well, not bad, everything opens up and everything becomes great. Everything in life becomes so much easier. It's just like a miracle. If only we understood, and this is what my guides were saying, you don't understand life, human beings.
So do you believe everything happens for a reason?
Yes. No, not a reason. Everything that happens to you is to make you who you need to be now. Not then, now. So when you look back at some of the events in your life that you might think weren't very good, look where you are now. Are you in a great place? You might have issues, all right. Look what you're doing. Look how you're helping the world. Look how you're putting stuff to help people. Look at the great work you're putting out there. You wouldn't be doing that if you hadn't been through what you've been through. Nothing's by accident. Nothing's by chance. It's all arranged. But you have to be in your flow. If you're in your flow, not the flow, your flow, if you can just be in that emptiness of now, you can let in everything that's coming to you that you're due. Everything that you're due to have will come to you. If you get rid of all this chatter about, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, or I need more of this, I need more of that. When you're in your flow, everything you need comes to you, not necessarily everything you want. Everything you need comes to you. You have to just be in this empty space. Listen, my guys, I'm not clever, I'm not wise. Well, I am wise. But this is what I've been told. Okay, that's why I'm wise now, wiser now. Because I've been told this. That's me. And this is the fact. Because I've been in that place of just being empty. And what you need comes to you. These are the little miracles that we just don't understand fully until someone mentions it. It'll change everyone's life.
Yeah, thank you. You mentioned angels, guides, higher self. How do we connect with those? How do we connect? Or is it all the same? How do we connect with that?
it's a bit to do with what I was talking about earlier, where people will come to me and say, well, you're a channel. I want to be a channel. I've been looking at books. I'm not talking about you here. I've been looking at books. People will come to me and ask me, and I've done this work and I've been trying this and trying that. It's not working. What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? It's all about timing. It's all about what's right for you, not you doing things that you think everyone's doing that. I should be doing, not you. I'm not talking about you here. Everyone's doing. I think I should be doing it. Why aren't I doing what they're doing? And I had a friend, he's not a friend anymore, but I had a friend who said to me the same thing once. He said, well, I think I should be doing this, that, and the other. And I said, well, maybe that's not what you're meant to be doing. Maybe you should be actually doing something else that is your forte, not one of these spiritual things, but helping people do their spiritual things. And we all have a job to do. And if you can stay in that nothingness enough and let what you need to come in, it will come when the timing is right. So in regards, it's all about the right place at the right time for you to be in that space. You have to be in the right place for you to be in the right place to be able to accept it. It's coming towards you, then you can grab it and take it. If you're just going, come on, I'm ready. Come and get me. I'm here. Some people it might work for, but if you're not in the right frame of mind, if you haven't raised your vibration, guidance, first thing you need to do is raise your consciousness, raise your vibration, bring your awareness up. So there's various ways you can do that. You can come and see people like myself and others. You can study things. You can find a teacher. You can think about it for yourself. Think about what you feel is right for you. But you need to do things by being empty of all this rubbish and stuff. You can't let fear into your life. Keep the fear out of the ear. There's a video I did some years back. A bit of a laugh, a bit of a joke like I am. Keep the fear out of ear. When that plague appeared, I told people, because it's all about fear. One side of the coin wants us to be in fear so that we can't think for ourselves, so that we can't channel, so that we can't get advice and help. And they keep you in fear to try and stop that. So we have to stop that. That's another thing you need to do. Stop right away. Stop listening. Be choosy what you listen to. And if you do have to listen to it, don't let it affect you. Don't take it on board. Okay? But raising your consciousness is the first thing in my view. And, people want to channel. I started channeling by listening to what was coming to me and writing it out quickly, scribbling it. I've got pads behind me here where I've been squiddling, and then reading it back, trying to understand what I've written, That's how it started with Archangels, really. After the initial part, I started channeling when I want. Now it's all day, every day. I'll just be waking up in the morning, I'll have a thought, and this thought will come, and in a flash, I know what I'm going to write the video about. I know what I'm going to do in my next video. I have, like being in your flow. I have just images and it tells me what I'm going to do. But it's about being at the right moment and not doing what everyone's doing because you think you should. It's listening to your heart. Your heart knows everything because it's connected to your higher self. It knows your soul journey. Ask your heart. That's probably the best advice. Put your hands on your heart. Ask your heart. If you go back like this, that's a good answer. If you go like this, that's a bad answer. If you're crunched up, that's bad. No, that's not right. If you're open, big, good, ask your heart the best advice. Because your heart knows everything about what's right for you.
Yeah, thank you. Where do you see the collective consciousness headed in terms of spiritual awakening? Have you been getting any messages about humanity, channeled messages?
So one of the things that we've been working with, my wife and I, we have a little connection group and friend, and we've been talking about unity consciousness and connected to unity consciousness. Of course, what we've talked about before is about that source, God, whatever name you want to use for this one being, or the being that everything came from, or the source of everything, whatever name you, I like the word source. I often use the word God, but in my heart, it's source of all things. And that source is unity consciousness. That unity consciousness is also love. The guides have told. It's also love with capital L, capital O, capital B, capital E. Not just the love we know about, the big love. And that unity consciousness, humanity also has, like if you connect with a lot of the star beings, are a collective consciousness. So they don't have individual consciousness. They're connected together as one. I talk to one Arcturian, if you like, and that is me talking to the whole of the Arcturians. Not forgetting the different races of Arcturians, different races of Pleiadians, different races of Andromedans. There's lots of different ones. The ones I connect to are higher dimensional, don't have physical body. So they're higher dimensional beings. And they guided me a while ago that humanity now is at the cusp of connecting to our humanity's unity consciousness. And I have my view on what's going on. And I can tell you that, if you like. And it's
Sure.
about what I talked about before when I mentioned to you about the flash and about the events.
The event.
And you want to hear about that?
Yeah, that was my next question. So please feel free to flow off that.
So basically, this has been in the teachings of different races and religions and people's minds and people's flows. And I've said to people before, I pick things up from the ether that my guides give me. And I want to put it out into the ether. That's what I do. Put it all out there. I put some stuff on our Patreon site that's private for people who follow us and support us. And a lot of the channeling stuff I do all goes on there. But most of the other things I put out. And I've been told that the ascension that people talk about, not there is so much the religious people's ascension, or it might be similar. The ascension of humanity is about those souls who have reached fourth, fifth dimensional consciousness are going to raise up. And it's not so much we're going to leave our bodies behind, but our bodies are still going to be there, but controlled from fourth or fifth density or fourth and fifth dimensional consciousness. Our consciousness is raising so that we can understand more. I actually was going to talk to you about something because I had a connection with the Andromedans who I've never connected to before about this. But I'll tell you about this first. So I've been guided that this is coming soon in the next few years. And I've been waiting for this for years and years and years, thinking it's going to happen. It's happening. We have to let go of a lot of stuff still. There's still stuff to let go of. I thought we'd have let go of it all by now, but still there. But we're very close. We've gone over the cusp and we're ready now to go onwards and upwards. We're really close. And what will happen, I've been guided, is that there's going to be a flash. I heard someone, in all honesty, I heard someone else mention this first about the flash. And it all clicked for me. That's what I think as well. because I actually saw a flash when I was in the Merchant Navy on the horizon. The sun went down and there was a brief flash across the equator, across the horizon. So I've seen that, and it reminded me of that. And also, when you've seen an eclipse of the sun, full eclipse, there's a flash quite often. I think it's definitely going to be a flash. And I actually connected to, so anyway, what that entails is an hour or two's chat. So we're not going to go there. It means that some of us, at least, maybe not all of us, some of us are going to raise our consciousness to a level where we can move onwards and upwards in our being, in our life, in our experiences, because we'll be totally heart-based, nothing else, totally heart-based beings. And there'll be others who can attain that if they raise their levels. I think I said to someone a little while ago about light codes. We've all been getting these light codes. And that's how I originally got to know you, from leaving that comment about light codes. And we've been, for many years now, receiving these downloads of energy from the central sun, they say, coming to us through our sun, actually. It comes to us physically through our sun. And we've been receiving this energy. And the last few years, that's been raising our level up. The last few years, we've been getting these light codes from star beings and others. And those light codes have been not only giving us new strands of DNA, but opening up old strands, ancient strands of our DNA, readjusting our DNA to become these new beings. Wow. And I don't know how I can prove that without being a scientist and cutting someone open, whatever. But this is what I've been told. And I believe it fully, 100%. And the DNA will only change, will only be debated with the flash. So that's important to the flash. So, yeah.
Marcus, do you have any last words for us?
I don't want to go. I love it. I love this. I'm just very grateful. And I'm sorry I've taken so much. And I could talk all that. I think the best advice to people is be yourself. Be true to your heart. Connect more with your heart. And just think about what you want other people to be like to you, to be like to them. Love yourself because you're unique. Everything about you is perfect. And everybody can have that love for themselves. You can't really change the world until you change yourself. So start with yourself. Love yourself. God always forgives you. Doesn't matter whether you believe in the God with a man with a great beard, or you believe in the God as the entity that everything exists in. You will never be challenged by being what people think of as bad. Just be heart-based. Live from your heart is the best advice. And I
want to end it with something I found on your website, and I thought it was a beautiful vision. And it said, the Bain clan center of light is a collective and like-minded individuals spreading the light. We believe that the world where everyone can feel loved, safe, happy, and have everything they need to live a fulfilled and joyful life is possible. This is achieved by taking positive action to bring this into existence. Marcus, thank you and the Bain Center for spreading light and love. I appreciate you for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you, Boo Boo. God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you too, and let's do this again in the future. We really appreciate it.
Love you. Love to. I'd love to. I'll see you again. Keep in touch.
Namaste. For sure.
Yeah,
thanks.
namaste.
Just know we out here. Know we out here working in a major way. Had to speak on it just to make a play. Any given subject, know we make a way. Time to level up on a day-to-day. Know we out here working the stars to the galaxy to skate on spirituality, higher understanding for the neighborhood.